Assiniboine Community College, the same post-secondary institution that recently launched an LPN program in Neepawa, is now considering bringing another training opportunity to the community. The ECE Accelerated Mentorship is a hybrid program which would allow students to work while completing their educational requirements, with 3 days a week working at an accredited childcare site with a mentor and 2 days a week in classroom, whether in person or virtual. Not only would students be earning a full-time wage while in the program, but the Manitoba government has a program that would also refund the tuition fees paid. ACC offers this and others of its programs under the rural rotating model, where it is offered in smaller communities across the province in addition to at its permanent campuses, to allow a wider variety of students to complete their education and join the profession. This program would potentially run in Neepawa for 18 months. ECEs are currently needed across the community to work in daycare facilities, home-based childcare, and early years classrooms as the population of young people in the area continues to explode. Neepawa is being evaluated as a potential community for the program based on interest. Given the need for ECEs in the community and the number of people attending the following town hall, there seems little doubt that there will be more than enough candidates to go forward.
Welcome everyone. My name is Marilyn Crew and I'm Economic Development Officer. Economic Development Officer here in Neepawa. And I'm so pleased to see so many people here to learn about Assiniboine's ECE2 program. So I'm just going to pass it over to the experts. So Brian and Ryan are going to take it over from here.
Thanks, Marilyn. Hi, everybody. My name is Ryan Cardwell, and I'm one of the chairpersons of Early Learning and Education at the college at ACC. I want to thank Marilyn for hosting us today and showing us a bit around the town and talking a bit about this project with us. We're really quite excited about the possibility of bringing the program here to Neepawa. So I've been working with young children and families for about 22 years. First as an early childhood education as a kindergarten teacher, and then as a principal and program director. Strange thing about my career is most of it was spent in China. So I was living in Beijing for the last 22 years and just recently came back to Canada. So I've been living here in Manitoba for the last 6 months at the college. So very excited to be here and be a part of the expansion of access to early childhood and care here in the province. So I'm joined by my colleague Brian Cox, and he can introduce himself.
Yeah, so I have been with ACC for 15 years, and before that was teaching in the public school division, and so I've actually taught every grade from 3 right up into college, and then I just took on the position as a chair in the early learning department with Ryan, and we've just been working on expanding the ECE world. I'm learning lots about, specifically about ECE, and trying to figure out how to get it into communities like this.
Yeah. So we were granted a little north of $11 million by the government of Manitoba that will be paid out over the next 3 years to improve access to education. And so it's coming in a number of different forms. We have a number of new programs and delivery modalities that we're rolling out this year. Some of them are online, some of them are really quick. CCA, maybe some of you took the CCA course that we had here in Neepawa in the fall. And there's a qualifications recognition program for folks who may have been trained overseas but don't have qualifications in Canada. There's a whole bunch of different ways that we're trying to get education to people. The reason we're here in Neepawa today is one of those modalities is called a rural rotating model. And so that would mean that the program would come here and it would go for 18 months. And in those 18 months, you would study everything that you need to know to be an ECE2 at the same time as you were working in an early learning center. So it's called an accelerated mentorship. Typically, our ECE2 program takes 2 years. This shortens it to 18 months. And that's because you'll be working closely with a mentor and you'll be working daily in an actual early learning center. So you're sort of learning while you're earning, which is really great model. The second thing I will tell you before I turn it over to Brian for the formal presentation is that the fees that you pay to ACC in tuition, you can then get back from the province up to $5,000 per year. And so if you do this program, we actually charge you less than that, so you'll end up getting all of the money that you paid in tuition back from the province upon completion of the program. At the same time as you're already working. So you're working full time, you're getting paid, you're going to school, So it's a really great, if it works the way it's designed, it works great for everybody involved. The community gets more people involved in early childhood education and care, and you get a great education, and you get paid while you do it. So Brian's going to tell you to walk through all the nuts and bolts of the program, and then we can hang out, probably have other questions, and we'll be here to answer them. So take it away, Brian.
Yeah, I think even during the presentation, I know sometimes people say, hold your questions to the end. We can do that, but we can, if I'm talking about something and you see something up here and you have questions, just fire away, and we'll make sure that we're on the right slide when you're asking your questions. So, welcome. These are some of the things we're going to look at here today. Just a little bit of an overview and admission requirements and how we can support students, and then how you can apply. So, as an ECE, there's different levels, and so how many in here did take the CCA with Donna? Yeah, maybe 3 or 4. Okay, and so in the ECE world, the very first step is a CCA, Child Care Assistant, and it's a 40-hour course. And so if you were to take the program here in Neepawa, you would earn your CCA in the first class. So that immediately allows you to have a wage increase. You would apply to the government to get your CCA certificate, and that immediately gets you a wage increase. And Donna, you stop me at any point.
No.
Donna knows way more than that. You guys give me one of these.
17 an hour.
Right, so you would probably start at, around
16.5.
16, okay, there you go. Start around 16, and you quickly jump up to 17. So in 18 months, you'd be at ECE 2, which then bumps you up somewhere between
$20.73.
20, 73? Okay, so you can, if you go to different centers, you could earn a little bit of a different wage depending on where in Manitoba you end up. No?
They had a wage right now, so they're pretty much.
So somewhere online it says something like 21 to 23, but anyway, you're saying it's,
Yeah.
okay. And then we also have an ECE 3 program, that's at ACC, well, it's on, you can earn that by taking online courses. And that's you can get that done in 1 year if you try really hard. Okay. Yeah, and then there's obviously more information here. We can turn this into a PDF and give it to Marilyn, and you can, if that works. Or you can, my email address is at the end. If you want this PowerPoint, you can email me.
Contact the college.
Yes, I'll get it to you, that's better. So this specific program is 18 months. You end up with your ECE 2 diploma, and as Ryan said, it involves a mentorship where you're trying to work with somebody at the center closely. You work 3 days a week and you're in class 2 days a week with that assigned mentor to get your ECE2. So while you're in this program, even while you're in class, you're still earning a wage. It's a full-time wage. You're working 3 days a week, but even when you go to class, your center can apply for a grant so that you can get money, basically be paid even while you're in class. So it's a really good time to become an ECE2. What's great about this, especially here in a place like Neepawa, you've got small class sizes where you get to know your instructor quite well, and then you have that unique relationship with your mentor. You're working at a center, so the center is interested in developing you, and so in a perfect world, you have a really close relationship with that mentor. And then, like I said, you could earn money while you're learning. This is an example of a calendar, or like a schedule of some of the classes that you could take. And so as you can see, we have 2 different colors here because we have 2 different cohorts. And so this is somewhat interesting to your center directors. So what it would mean if one center had, let's say, 4 employees that they wanted to send, well, they could send 2 employees out on Tuesday and Wednesday while the other 2 are still working on the floor, and then you flip. So then the other 2 go to class and the other 2 come to the floor. Does that make sense? So we've got this kind of a flip-flop model. And we've been playing around with this model. So if this was happening here in Neepawa, and I'm not sure if all of you are from Neepawa or if you're from surrounding communities, but let's say you live half an hour away from Neepawa, we can set this model up working with instructors so that one day could be a face-to-face instructor and the other day could be online. And then face-to-face and then online. So that means that if you live half an hour from Neepawa, you would only have to drive to Neepawa 1 day a week and then stay at home for the other class. We have different ways to run the program depending on what the community needs, but this is kind of why we need to hear who's interested and how we can make it fit and work in your community. So according to this model, you take one class in the morning and then a different class in the afternoon, so you don't take the same class all day. That's a little boring. But 2 classes are finished in 7 weeks. 7 weeks, 2 classes. It's accelerated, right? It's pretty fast paced. So it means that while you're in class, you're listening and your instructor's saying, okay, when you get on the floor tomorrow, try and apply what we just talked about in class. That's why you need a mentor. So you go, okay, am I doing it? And so it's a very accelerated, way to learn, but a close connection with the workplace. That's kind of how we designed the model. You kind of have to be ready to dedicate yourself for 18 months because it's a pretty focused program that's delivered. Questions? Yeah?
Where is it going to be?
Like physically located?
Yeah.
We have 3 different locations that we're considering. We haven't chosen one yet.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course it's based on numbers, right? If we had 4 people interested, we wouldn't be able to run it. But if we can get, if we have 12 people in this room, it's like, yeah, and everybody has a job, then we could say, all right, this is the place to come. We'd love to have 12 or more people in the program. Am I right?
You're right.
12 or more, that'd be great. These are just a list of some of your courses, year 1 courses and then year 2 courses. And so you have a couple of APS applied courses in there. But while you're working at the center, you're basically earning credit towards these APS courses. Children, Indigenous perspectives, we're the only school at the college right now that has a course specific to this. You got your developmental courses. All 3 stages, early and then preschool and then school age development, and so it kind of builds on itself. So how about costs? So these are estimated, because textbooks change in price and some courses meet them and don't have them, but basically year 1 hovers right around $5,000. Hopefully it's a little bit under, and same with year 2. And then every year you can apply for a $5,000 rebate to get that reimbursed. So it's, it's as close to a free education as you're going to get. What do you need to join the program? You need grade 12. So you got to finish grade 12. Yes. And then you need to be working somewhere. You need to be working at a center. Either give us the criminal record check, or if you're working somewhere, that center you'll already have done that through your center, and instead your center can just give us proof of employment, and either one of those is necessary. If English isn't your first language, then we need to just make sure that your English is at a level where you're going to be successful. And so there's a few different tests or English proficiency tests that you can take. If you're interested, you can go to that website right there. We require like a level 6. Now, we have the ability to work with you, and if you weren't quite at a 6, we could interview you, for example, and maybe talk to you, get a sample of your writing, and we have the ability to get you in.
If you're not sure, don't assume the answer we know. Ask us, and we'll figure it out together.
We want to find a way.
Yeah, we want to find a way.
Yeah, so don't let that, oh, I'm not going to apply because I'm worried about that.
I have a magic pen.
Yeah.
If I finish my grade 12 program in the Philippines, will have to be further requirement.
So you took high school in the Philippines?
Yeah.
Grade 12
Yeah.
Yeah. That would only, we would want to see, but just listening to you talk, I think it'll be fine. You asked a question in a group meeting, I think it'll be fine. Yeah, just English proficiency, but yeah, doesn't need to be grade 12 from Canada.
Thank you.
So this is, Donna was already talking about salaries. Oh, you were right. Always trust Donna. Anyway, just talk to Donna. Wait, no, there's more information there, but yeah, every stage you kind of jump up a little bit. So even though the course, if we were running it here, you still have access to resources at Assiniboine Community College. So if you have trouble with assignments, you can book online appointments, send your assignments to our learning curve, and they can help you with assignments and send it back to you. I am taking classes right now. My university is in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. I have taught English for the past 15 years. I'm really good at writing English. I send my assignments. I send it to Cape Breton, and they look at it at their learning curve and send it back to me. So you use these resources. They're there for you, right? And so there's a ton of them at ACC. Stuff for learning, there's financial supports there. There's financial supports right in your community. We met with them today. So if you're thinking, oh no, I don't know how to financially afford this, apply, contact us. We will find a way to make it happen. Yeah. We have health supports. I don't know what's up here. We have counseling supports, with whatever you need help with. There's an answer for you. Yeah, same thing. If you maybe back home, if you had an accommodation for learning back home, and you come to Canada and you're like, I don't know if it's still. We have people that will assess and figure out how to make sure you're successful academically in all areas. You'll have a student success advisor that is dedicated to you. Student success advisor helps you with any problems you have outside of your relationship with your instructor. If you're having stress problems or finance problems, hello, come on in. Student success advisor is dedicated to our school, so yeah.
I'm just looking down on my computer.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, you're back.
Sorry.
No problem. You're on camera. That's it. This is the step 1, step 2, and step 3 is how to apply. And so I'll show you my email at the end, but really you just start with sending in there'll be an online application. And the trick with applying is there's different stages. So stage number 1, is like a $95 application fee, and that gets your name into our system. You pay the $95, you create a username, and you are in our system. Then we can see you and find you and talk to you, and then you keep going with your application. Maybe you're waiting on a criminal record check, or you're waiting on a letter from the place where you're working. Don't wait to have everything like already in place. Start your application early. If you get into a hiccup, then you reach out to us and we can make sure that you get it. But that's really step 1, is to start applying. There's the $95 fee. And as you go, you can start to submit or if I go to high school, you submit your transcripts all along the way. Step 3, then we reach out to you. After you pay the $95, we reach out to you and say, okay, you've got this document. Once you have all your documents, then we say your spot is held. You just have to pay a $400 registration fee, and that means that you are in and nobody can take your spot. So $95 to apply, $400 gets you like you have a spot in the course. If for some reason we would shut down this, the whole program, we could reimburse the $400 for sure. I have to get special permission about the $95, but
Ben?
done? Magic pen. There you go. Okay, so some people are like, they're worried to like start applying because, I'm going to do this. Yeah, we don't want to create any barriers if we can. So that's kind of it. Whoops, this one right here. Whoops, this one right here. Whoops. There, that's the one you want. Take pictures or write it down. That's me. And if you have questions that you didn't want to put your hand up and ask.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm super late.
Yeah.
I was wondering if this course is like a work placement, so like I can still go to work and like it's like a 2 days per week.
That's right.
Correct.
Is that what it? Okay.
Yeah, you work for 3 days and go to school for 2 days.
Okay.
And the school is, the classes are in the daytime.
Right. Okay.
Hopefully face-to-face. Yeah.
When does it start? Is there like a?
Right now, we're gauging interest, so we have to figure out how many people want to apply, figure out how many people are going to apply, and we'll figure out the start dates.
Okay.
Potentially it will be this spring, April, May.
Okay.
Does anybody happen to know the centers anymore? Like,
Yep. That's good.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So what, we got buds and seeds, is that it?
No, there's.
Buds and blooms.
I'm in Gladstone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the, yeah, and then there's two schools.
Right.
So I'll tell you, how many people are from outside of Neepawa? Just one. So there's a way that we can design the course that you may only have to drive to Neepawa one day,
Okay.
and then you take the other day at home. Now, it just depends on how, whether or not we run that, depends on how many people are in the course and where they're from.
Okay.
It's an option.
If you'll indulge me, I'll just talk to you for 5 minutes about the profession of early childhood education, because I think there's often confusion about what ECEs do. When I think about my career actually began in high school, so my original degree was in phys ed. So I started my career as an English and phys ed teacher in high school. And then I moved into early childhood education later. And I stayed in early childhood education. So I taught high school for about 5 years, and then I was in ECE for almost 20 years now. And the reason I've stayed in early childhood education is because the impact that you make with young children is deeply profound. The changes that you can make in a young child's life are so much different than you can with a grade 11. A grade 11 student, a 16-year-old, they're pretty much done. Like you're changing the paint shade on the car, and you're maybe choosing the interior, but the engine is done. Like the main part of the work is done. When children are very young, you're installing the operating system. You're putting in the software. You're setting up that child for success in life. I think about it like when the giant icebergs calve off in the Arctic and they come down toward the oil derricks in Newfoundland. There's offshore oil drilling. When those icebergs are 1,000 miles away, ships take hoses of water and they move them just a few meters. But that little change makes a huge difference, and they miss those oil derricks by miles and miles and miles and miles by making that tiny change early on. And that's what ECE is all about. We spend time with young children, we guide their behavior, we spark their curiosity, we really try to figure out what they're about and how to really maximize for what they're good at and to remediate what their challenges might be. So working with young children is really exciting. The difference you'll see if you work with a 3-year-old for a year, child comes to you when they're 3, and by the time they're 4, it's such a huge difference. You will see such an impact from the work that you do with young children, and it's really, really exciting. So coming into this field, you're gonna have to go on websites, and you're gonna have to take courses, and you're gonna do all this, really annoying things, but the payoff later is gonna be great. It's a fantastic career. You'll really impact your own life, but the life of your community, and really profoundly affect the lives of the children that you work with. How many of us are parents? Right? So those of us who are parents, we know all of this, right? We see the way that our children develop from the time they're born. But when you work with a group of children, it's a really incredible experience. It's great work, it's impactful work, it's important work, and that's why I'm so excited to see that you're all here, interested in maybe choosing this pathway. It's not necessarily an easy path, and you'll never get rich doing it, but it is very rewarding. For those of us who've spent our lives, working with children, you get a lot out of it, and the children get a lot out of it. So I'm hoping that many of you will find a way past the barriers, figure out how you can apply. Now, if this particular program doesn't work for you, we have so many ways right now to get to this kind of education. We have another online program. It's the same basic program, but it's 100% online. So maybe this isn't going to work for you right now. Maybe you're not a PR yet. Maybe you're waiting on something. Maybe you need to wait 8 months, 9 months. There'll be another opportunity. But I hope that tonight has inspired you to maybe think about this as a career path, because it is really a fantastic career. We would love to offer it here in Neepawa. If you are really interested in applying for the program, I would encourage you to email Brian, because what we want to do is get an interest list, a name list. so that we can figure out how many people might want to do it. Brian said we'll need 12. That's about right. So we would need around 12 people to participate in the program just to make it viable for us to be able to do it. So that's my pitch for the profession. I think it's really important work. It's really impactful work, and I'm really happy that you're all here. If you have any questions about all this nuts and bolts stuff, we're here to answer them. I would also say if there's other questions you have, email us. If you're not sure if you can apply, contact us. If you're not sure if you should apply, contact us. If you have any questions, contact us. If you think, oh, I've got this thing, but I'm missing this thing, contact us. I will walk down to the registrar's office and say, this name, when this name comes through, send it through so that I can see it, so that we can really make that consideration. Because the registrar's office is going to look at a checklist, right? They're going to look at all these things, but this how many times has this happened this year? So many times.
Yeah.
Let us know your application is coming through. We will flag your name. We will send it to the registrar and say, when this application comes in, let me know. We'll look at it together so that I can use my magic pen. Okay? All right, that's all we've got. Anybody have any questions? Yeah? Questions?
Okay, so we're going to give you time to think about that, and while we do, I'm going to invite Donna up, and she's just going to talk a little bit about what a career path of an ECE might look like, unless she's, no, she okay.
Okay, so if you decide to become an ECE, which I think is an important job, and I think it's very good to do. Okay, you work as an early childhood educator. You can work with infants, which is from 12 weeks to 2 years. You can have the preschoolers, which is 2 years to 6 years, or you can have the school age, which is 6 years to 12 years. We have all of those programs here in Neepawa. If you want to come and look at them, check them out, volunteer for a day, a couple hours, come on over. Okay, you can become a home-based provider, so you can have daycare in your own home. And you can work as a program supervisor in a daycare. You can be an assistant director, or you can be a director of a school-age program or a nursery school. For those two, you only need to be an ECE2. An ECE2 can also work in a kindergarten class in some school divisions, and you could be an EA at a school. I won't tell you that some school divisions actually pay better than we do, but anyway, yeah. You can be a child development worker, and you can be a family first home visitor. So those are all things that you can do with your ECE2. You can just be in there and assist with it, like help the teacher. Yeah. So yeah, they have, because now they're doing play-based learning in this kindergarten classes, which is what we're trained in. Yeah. And we're trained in child development, so we're actually really good to have in a classroom because we can tell you if the kid is developing if they need extra help with fine motor skills or something like that. Any questions?
Do you like what you do?
I do. Yep. I've been the director at Fuzzy Blue for 17 years. Before that, I did 6 years in nursery school. Yeah. It's fun. No 2 days are the same. Yeah. You get lots of hugs. Yeah. Yeah.
It's about those relationships, right?
Yes, it is. And how and when you get them when they're infants and they stay until they're school age, you can have them for 11 years. So it's a long time to be in someone's life. So yes, there are some staff here who have taken courses, like taken their ECE2. So if you're interested, you can talk to some of them about course loads and stuff like that. Yeah, there's like 4 of them.
Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
So, Sean, I don't want to put you on the spot. We had suggested that you might want to chat for a bit. You prepared to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Shauna. She's a career development consultant with training and employment services with the province. She's going to talk a little bit about the finances.
And my coworker, Charlene,
Oh,
is
yes,
also joining me, so it was kind of a last minute. So yes, we're from Training and Employment Services with the province. And so what we do is provide one-on-one counseling to help you assess your need for training and develop an employment plan or education plan. We look at funding and supports for education plans as well. The department does expect you to also contribute to the costs of your training plans.
So our financial support, if that's, what you need help with, it can run anywhere from 12 weeks up to a maximum of 2 years. So this program, based on eligibility, it would fit into that 2 years, but you need to connect with us prior to starting your training, okay? So if this is something that you're thinking you want to do, if you apply, you're accepted, get in touch with us. If you're from the Neepawa area, contact Westlake, they'll refer you to us right away so that we can assess your eligibility. Different things we can help with are living allowances, transportation, daycare costs, tuition, and it's all very individual. How it's distributed, it can be negotiated. So another key financial aspect that we often are able to do is authorize you to collect EI while you're in training. Okay, so you can leave your job and collect EI. In most cases, if you leave your job and go to school and apply for EI, you get denied, but we're able to authorize that. Again, it does come with certain requirements, so you have to have worked enough hours to be able to establish an EI claim, but that's all stuff that we go over when we meet with you. It's just something that we can do. Other funding options, if you're not eligible for our funding, keep in mind your personal savings, MMF, if you fit in that group, band funding, student line credits, etc.
As far as eligibility, it's part of what we are looking at, of course. Maybe not everyone would be eligible, but we do look at it case by case. There are many factors that impact eligibility. And we review not only your request for assistance, but we look at your need, the labor market, and availability of other funds. So some of the things that we look at includes if you have a current or previous employment insurance claim, if you're employed but low skilled, if you're in receipt of provincial employment and income assistance or EIA benefits, or an individual who is unemployed or about to lose your job, or pursuing training in a high demand career. And if through our process of assessment, if you're maybe thinking of other education options, that is something else that we would talk about, look at career exploration.
Our funding, so for people that are eligible for our funding, no matter the program you take, it's not a loan, okay? If you successfully complete the program and comply with all the conditions of a contract that we sign with you, then you do not have to pay it back. Again, like I said earlier, if any of it sounds interesting to you, you want to learn more, start through Westlake. That would be the place to start. If you're not from Neepawa, you can connect with us directly through the provincial building in Brandon with training and employment services. Depending on your community, there might be another employment assistance office in your community. But either way, if you connect with Westlake, they'll be able to kind of lead you in the right direction. And they'll help with the paperwork, gathering the information, and sending us the referral. Okay?
So we mentioned Westlake, that's Westlake Employment Skills and Services Center, just to be clear, has everyone heard of that center? Yes, people, and we have two of the staff here, if you want to say hello. So Flor-Louise and Martha would be happy to help you out if you're interested. Any questions?
Sure, how would that fit in with that, the grant, the reimbursement?
Oh, the reimbursement.
How would get taken, how would that work?
Well, essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is you would go one route or the other.
Yeah.
So like say you were unable to pay the tuition, you would be another route. You wouldn't be able to double.
You know, with that being said, correct me if you're wrong.
Yep.
It is possible that we could still assist with something like authorizing your EI, right? So if you're eligible, there's.
But we need them to be employed while they're in class. So that.
We'll have a coffee. Never mind.
So it'll be more like money up front instead of get it later.
Yeah, and there's different, I mean, we're still working and we're trying to learn about the
Yep.
program. We're all trying to figure it out, right? So,
I would say connect regardless.
connect regardless.
So there may be support for travel though, or something
Yeah,
like
I
that
was
on
gonna say
top
travel, daycare, supplies, I don't know what the $5,000 reimbursement covers.
Tuition.
Is it just tuition or is that like books and
And
stuff?
Tuition.
Yeah.
I think you can,
Okay,
is it true they can only apply for tuition rebate, right?
Yeah.
so not books and supplies. So that would be where we would potentially help as well. So anything not tuition.
Yeah, I think the main message is, if you don't know,
Connect.
ask. We really want to say yes.
Any other questions?
Yes. Oh, no, that's the camera.
Yeah, well, and so we do have time for questions now, so if it's something related to your work, then we'll have you answer
Yeah.
it if there's further questions.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
All right, so there's some chit chat. Do we have questions is there ideas of things that maybe you're wondering about? Trying to figure out how it will fit with your life?
Yeah.
If I'm paying $95 or $100, regardless of that, having the transcripts in, it would be able to.
So step one would be paying the 95, and then you start submitting your other documents. So that's your high school transcript and your either proof of employment or criminal records and child abuse.
Either one of it, not all of it,
Right, you don't have to do it all at once. You can do it in stages. And then after those documentations are all in, then our admissions team will reach out to you and say, your application has been approved. You're kind of at the next step called registration. So we have two departments, application, registration. So application is you paying the 95, submitting your documents. Then it turns over to registration and they'll say, pay your $400 and we'll put you into course number 1. That holds your spot. Nobody can kick you out. Yeah.
Hi, so when we're handing in a transcript, like, would it have to come from an institution to another, or the one that we have in hand?
We'll take a photocopy.
Okay.
Yeah, if it doesn't look legit, we'll reach out. Yeah, we're trying to remove those barriers.
Yeah.
Also, if you are going to submit a child abuse and a criminal record, we shred it. So
make sure it's a copy.
don't submit the original. That's the one we shred. We take it, we check it off, and then we shred it.
I took my CCA just like a couple months ago, like 6 months ago.
Yep.
So I already have like an account or whatever, so I would just have to register for the course.
That's right, yeah. Well, no, you'll have to apply for
For the
this.
program, yeah.
For the program, and
Yeah.
it's all on the site.
It's all on the site.
Okay.
Well, it's not there yet. Let me be really clear.
Yeah, what the next step is.
Because right now, I have a feeling somebody's leaving and saying, we're starting a program in Neepawa. We're
not there yet.
We're not there yet. Tonight is, we're trying to see who's interested. And if you are interested in Neepawa, you should let me know. You should email me and say, hi, Brian, I was at your session. I happen to work at this place and I am interested in this program. Then I will add you to a list.
And we will reply, and we'll probably ask you some follow-up questions like, are you currently working in a center? We'll have some follow-up questions to figure out your eligibility, and then we're gonna see what those numbers are like. If those numbers look good, we're gonna email everybody we've communicated with and say, we are opening up applications. The program will start on this date, it'll be on these dates, yada, 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 and then you'll be able to go through the application process. Now, tonight we're just here to assess interest. So the bodies in the room tell me that there's interest, which is good.
Sorry, I must have missed this part, but would it be like just for full-time or casual staffs as well?
It can be for casual staff as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we can make that work. Yeah. If you have the ability to work in a center at least some of the time, we can make that work. Again, if you're not sure, what are you supposed to do? Ask.
There is a set number of hours we have to meet.
That we have to
We can try.
But you can let us know who your employer is, even if it's casual. We can reach out and say, hey, how much is this person working? Could it be a little more?
Okay, I have a question. You showed that schedule, and it said Tuesday, Wednesday are classes, or Tuesday, Wednesday always for
It doesn't need to be any of that. That's just what's going on the wire right now. It can be.
We can tweak it, we can adjust it to, yeah. We have another program that's running Tuesdays and Thursdays, another one's doing Wednesdays and Fridays. We can massage it, you know, to fit whatever we need to.
The days don't matter to us.
And it doesn't have to be full-time to take care of this.
No.
Well, it would be.
If you're not sure if you qualify, let us know. We'll talk to you individually if you're not sure. Yeah. We would very much like it to work for everybody. So, you know, we're going to work with folks like Don and other people who are in the industry here in Neepawa to figure out how we can make it work for everybody.
How long is the course of it?
18 months. We're beginning that. So you're doing a couple of courses every 7 weeks. So it's pretty fast.
Stick around if you want to stick around.
If you want to stick around, if you don't want to ask questions in front of everybody, and you just want to come and talk to me or Brian, please do. If you need to get home and watch, I don't know what's on TV anymore, I haven't watched in a long time. I'm sure there's something. If you gotta go, feel free. Don't stand on ceremony. Thank you all for your time. Really appreciate it. Thanks again to Marilyn and everybody here at Neepawa for working with us on this project. It's very exciting, and we hope we can move forward. If you'd like to get involved, you know what to do. Cox B.
That's right.
Yes, spell it correctly.
I did.